Good morning, Computer Solutions.
Oh, hello. My printer's broken and I need to get a new one. Someone gave me your number and I was wondering whether you could help me.
No problem. We stock printers suitable for both home and office.
Well, I'm a student. I just need one for my coursework. How much do they cost?
An inkjet printer will probably be good enough for what you want. It'll do text and pictures. They start at £80 and go up to £250.
Quite a good price range then. I can spend about £150. Can I get a good one for that?
Yes, I'd go for the Trion I-860. It had good reviews and we've had no complaints about it.
The I-860. I'll come in and have a look. What time are you open to?
Normally we close at 5:30, but today being Saturday, it's 8:30.
And where exactly are you?
In Hollow Ridge, 15 Park Lane.
15 Park Lane. Got that. Is that in the town centre?
Yes, opposite the cinema.
OK. And is it easy to park? If I buy the printer, I'd want to take it home with me today.
No problem. There's a car park quite near, just at the back of the supermarket.
OK. Oh, one more thing. Do you take credit cards?
Cash only, I'm afraid. Will that be all right?
Yes, but I mustn't forget to go to the bank before I come. Oh, by the way, what's your name?
Jack Stanway. That's Stanway. There are two Jacks here, so when you ask for me, give my surname too.
OK, I will.
I work in the office, but you need to go to the 3rd floor where the printers are. Just ask for me there and I'll come out and see what I can do to help. See you later.
The 3rd floor. Great. Thanks for your help. Bye.
Now turn to Section 2 of your listening question booklet. Section 2. You will hear Constable Andrew Gray talking about a problem in the Darlinghurst area to a group of international students at the University of Technology International Centre. As you listen to the talk, answer questions 11 to 15. Before you listen, look at questions 11 to 15.
Before I start, I'd like to thank the University of Technology International Centre for allowing me to come and talk to you all this afternoon. The reason for my visit is to outline a problem that female international visitors and students have been having in the Darlinghurst area. For the last month or so, thieves have been targeting the area, snatching handbags and backpacks from unsuspecting women. Now, as you probably know, Darlinghurst is very popular with tourists for shopping and sightseeing, and it's also a popular meeting place for students. There are lots of cafes and coffee shops, and unfortunately, we've had some thieves taking advantage of these conditions. The thieves are young and fit. They grab the bag from the woman's shoulder or out of her hand when she's involved with something else. You know, deep in conversation or window shopping. So they grab the bag and then run away very quickly. By the time the victim realises what's happened, the young man's out of sight and there's little hope of catching him. The victims are always female and almost always a visitor to the area. When these incidents first started, the victims were always by themselves, but now it seems they're becoming braver and targeting women in groups. Age doesn't seem to matter to the thieves, it's just a matter of opportunity. They look for someone who isn't consciously protecting their bag and for a place with an easy getaway. You know, not too crowded. We've only had 2 of these bag snatchers almost caught when the victims chased after them. Unfortunately, on both occasions, as soon as the women reached the thief, he threw the bag right at them and then escaped. One woman was hurt quite badly. They really are brazen. We don't encourage you to chase these thieves. There are many small laneways and streets in Darlinghurst that the thieves can escape into. We just don't know what they're likely to do, and we certainly don't want anyone to get hurt. So, what can you do? Well, unfortunately, not much. But we are asking that you be aware of this danger. If possible, walk with a friend while you're in the area. Hang on to your bags carefully. Don't leave your bags on the ground at one of the many cafes while you have a coffee or a meal, and don't leave it on a chair or tabletop. In other words, be alert at all times and conscious of your bag while you're in the area. We also caution you about carrying anything too valuable in your bags. Don't, for instance, carry too much cash, and please ensure that you know the details of all of your credit cards. It seems like the thieves are not only after cash. They've been using credit cards illegally on the internet to purchase goods or access pornographic sites. So some of our targets not only lose the cash they have in their bags, but they get a nasty surprise when their credit card bills arrive at the end of the month. It's vital that you keep your credit card details and report your loss to police.
Before the final part of the talk, look at questions 16 to 20. Now you will hear the rest of the talk. Answer questions 16 to 20.
If you take these precautions and still get robbed, please contact your nearest police station. You can, of course, come to the Darlinghurst police station, but this isn't necessary. The police will need to get certain details. In particular, your name, your contact phone number, and the time that the robbery took place. We'll also ask you for the exact location of the incident. Please take note of the nearest cross street or laneway. A lot of the victims haven't been able to tell us this, but it is vital if we're going to catch these thieves. Or try to remember the name of the nearest shop. We are trying to establish any patterns to the thefts. We will also need a full description of the bag or article that was snatched. Most of the bags are found discarded nearby with the cash and credit cards gone. Obviously, you'll need to cancel your credit cards as a matter of urgency. The only protection you have against being made responsible for illegal use of your credit card is if you report the card stolen before the thieves can use it. We are confident that these thieves will stop their practice if we show that we're aware of their presence and limit their profits. The Darlinghurst Police have some plainclothes female detectives in the area now, and we're sure to catch them. Getting accurate locations of these incidents is vital. It's not our intention to frighten any of you, but we do want you to be aware of the problem and hopefully avoid any trouble. Are there any questions?
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to section 3. Section 3. You will hear 3 students discussing a survey they are going to do. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 27. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 27.
Hi Mel, hi Laura, sorry I'm a bit late. I got held up by the bus, it just didn't come for ages.
Don't worry, you're only a couple of minutes behind and we've only just been chatting.
Right then, we're here to organise the survey that we're going to do. Mel, you said that you discussed with Professor Donald Walker what type of survey we were going to do.
Yes, I spoke to Professor Walker 2 days ago, and I told him that the surveys we were considering were a telephone survey, a street survey and a mail survey. He thought that the phone one would be too expensive for us and the postal one would take too long, so we decided we should do the street one.
I think that's right. If we do the street one, then we can get the whole thing done in one day and we can get on with analysing the results.
Yes, that's right. Now there are some other things that Professor Walker wanted to know about. How big should the survey be?
Well, the ideal figure for a survey such as this should be about 1,000 people, but that will take us about a month to get that many people, and we just don't have that much time. On the other hand, if we just choose 100 people, the survey won't be statistically significant.
So what about something in the middle? What about 600?
Still too many. That'll take us ages. 400?
Let's split the difference and say 500.
Okay.
And how many questions? If there are too many, we'll just have the same problem.
Professor Walker said we should have no more than 10 or people get bored. 10 then?
I think even fewer. 8.
I think 3 fewer again to make sure we can get the numbers done quickly.
OK, I agree with that.
I'm not sure, but I suppose so.
You now have some time to look at questions 28 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 28 to 30.
Now, Professor Walker asked where we were going to do the survey.
Does he want to avoid that area then?
Probably. Now, we can either all stay together or split up and do different locations.
Well, if we split up, then I think we've got a better chance of getting more people surveyed.
Yes, I agree with Laura.
OK. Now, I made a list of the possible locations in Wesley where we could station ourselves. There's the town square, at the entrance to the train station, at the university cafeteria, outside Dobbin's department store, on the corner of the High Street and College Road, the bus station and the corner of High Street and Wilkins Road. What do you think?
I think the square is great, but the people at the train station will be travelling and often in a hurry.
I agree with all of that, and I think the bus station will have the same problem as the train station.
OK, that's those two out then.
I think the other ones in town were good too. The cafeteria will have too many students, and that will create too great a bias to our survey. We need a good cross-section of the population, and anywhere too close to the university won't give us that.
Laura's right. So, out of the other town ones, I think that the two on the High Street corners are good.
I don't agree. The High Street corner with College Road would be good, but the corner with Wilkins Road is too far out. Not enough people will come by there.
Yes, Mel's right there. We should use Dobbin's department store instead.
I can see your point. OK, that's settled then. All 3 of us will be stationed in town then, but not the Wilkins Road position.
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to section 4 of your listening question booklet. Section 4. You will hear a guest speaker at an alternative energy seminar talking about wind power. First, look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen to the talk and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at this year's Alternative Energy Seminar. Right. Well, I know that the next speaker, John Dunkett, is going to talk about the mechanics of generating power using wind as an alternative source of energy, so I won't be using any technical terms, and I won't be going into the technology of how wind generators actually work. I'll be concentrating on sharing my own experiences with you. For those of you who don't know, I live on a very windy farm some 3,000 kilometres from the nearest city. That means we're not connected to the State Electricity Commission's grid, and we have to produce our own electricity. When I first bought the farm in 1975, we got our electricity supply exclusively from diesel and petrol generators. The problems with this were twofold. A lot of fuel was wasted because the generators usually didn't run to their full capacity. And more importantly to my wife, the generators were extremely noisy, especially at night. After we'd been on the farm for about 6 months, I heard about what they called a hybrid system. This meant that we could keep the diesel generator, but we also got a generator that was powered by wind. Because our place is so consistently windy, especially in summer, our hybrid system worked very well. In fact, we couldn't believe how well it worked. We also had friends closer to the city who bought this hybrid system at the same time, and they were very pleased with the efficiency of it as well. Their farm is considerably less windy than ours, so even in moderately windy sites, the hybrid system appeared to work well. Both of us agreed that we made substantial savings in fuel at the end of the first year, and of course, our wives were happier, because it wasn't as noisy as often. In 1984, we found that we were rarely using our diesel generator and decided to try our hand at becoming self-sufficient in wind-generated power. We were sure that we'd survive without the backup of the diesel generator, so we imported 4 wind generators from Denmark. America and Australia were dabbling in the technology, but we were too far behind the Europeans. The benefits of wind generators were much more obvious to the Danes, and now, as a result, they supply about 50% of wind turbines around the world. Anyway, the Danish wind generators had a rated power output of 55 kilowatts per generator. They made quite an impact on our landscape, and even though we could sometimes hear the mechanical noise from the generator itself, they were very quiet. The rotor diameters were about 20 meters. We felt proud that we were only using energy from clear, moving air to generate our electricity, no diesel or petrol or fuel smells either. We knew that our resource was renewable. We are, after all, not going to run out of wind, especially at our place. The wind turbine is used to charge up batteries which store the energy. Last year, we bought a 600 kilowatt machine. It is about 46 meters high with a rotor diameter of 43.5 meters. We found that the cost of the turbine was recovered within about 8 months. It should produce over 1 million kilowatt hours per year for us. It does look a bit strange against our flat terrain, but we love it. Best of all, my wife says she can't even hear the windmill, as she calls it, from our house at night. Frankly, I think her hearing just isn't what it used to be, but I must agree that it is very quiet. Additionally, we expect it to last for about 20 years with regular 6-monthly maintenance. Our farm is isolated, and yet you'd be amazed by the number of visitors we have each year to inspect our wind turbines and the effectiveness of the wind generators. Actually, we often joke that when we stop making money from the farm, we'll charge tourists to come and visit our very own wind farm. There is also the possibility of selling the electricity that we generate back to the Electricity Commission, but I think that is all in the future. We've had a lot of people ask us why we chose wind power generated energy rather than solar energy, but as soon as they visit our windy farm, they know why. Even if our farm were not as windy as it is, we'd make that choice again. From all accounts, it is the least expensive form of renewable energy technology that we have. It can be used in a variety of applications, from isolated farms such as ours to supplying small sailboats without power. Now, I'll hand you over to John Dunkett from the Danish company that sold us our original 4 wind turbines, and he'll explain how this remarkable technology has developed over the last 20 or 30 years.
That is the end of section 4 and the end of the listening test. You now have half a minute to check your answers.